For centuries, the Galactic Council had been the symbol of unity across the stars. Hundreds of worlds joined under one promise: to prevent war and build peace among intelligent species. Yet beneath the polished speeches and the shining marble halls of their station, there was a quiet arrogance that ran deep. They believed themselves wise beyond measure, capable of judging which species were civilized enough to belong and which were not. When humanity arrived, everything began to change. The humans had reached the stars later than most. Their ships were small compared to the towering vessels of the older races. Their weapons, though crude at first glance, carried a precision that made even the Council's military analysts uneasy. But what truly disturbed the Council was not the humans' technology, it was their behavior. They were polite, cooperative, and humble during the early meetings. They offered trade routes, medical aid, and exploration data freely, and yet there was something behind their calm eyes that the Council could not understand. During one of the first great assemblies, the High Speaker of the Council, a being whose translucent skin shimmered with gold, had addressed the humans. He said they must abide by the Council's peace codes and limit their expansion into frontier sectors. The human ambassador agreed without resistance, smiling as if the restrictions were of no concern. Many saw that as weakness. The Council mistook human patience for submission. Years passed, and the humans kept their word. They built colonies in permitted zones, supported interspecies trade, and even helped mediate disputes. When smaller species were bullied or pressured by stronger empires, humans quietly sent food, engineers, and teachers. They did not demand repayment. They did not raise banners or claim glory. They simply helped and moved on. But then came the Alaris incident. A small frontier world populated mostly by humans, and Alaris, a gentle aquatic species, was attacked by raiders. The humans sent distress calls to the Council, begging for intervention. The Council debated for 3 long weeks before sending a response team. By the time they arrived, the colonies were gone, burned to the soil. Thousands had died. The Council issued an apology. They promised an investigation, a memorial, and revised policies for faster response. Humanity said nothing in return. When the next Council session began, the human ambassador attended as usual, standing among the polished representatives of hundreds of worlds. The High Speaker offered condolences again, expecting a polite reply. Instead, the human simply nodded and said, "We understand." Then he turned off his translator and walked out. It was the first time in Council history that a member had left a session in silence. From that day, things began to shift. Human delegations started declining invitations. Their ambassadors remained distant. Trade requests were answered, but with cold formality. The Council tried to reason, tried to remind them that peace required patience. Humanity listened, smiled faintly, and gave no commitment. At last, a final meeting was called. It was meant to restore relations and calm the growing unease. Representatives from 100 species gathered in the Grand Hall, its domed ceiling reflecting the lights of nearby stars. The human delegation arrived last. There were only 3 of them, dressed in simple uniforms, no medals or ornaments. They stood in the center, facing the Council table. The High Speaker began his address filled with elegant phrases about harmony and unity. He spoke of how humanity's emotions had clouded their judgment and how vengeance would bring only ruin. When he finished, the hall was silent. All eyes turned to the human representative. He took a slow breath and began to speak, his voice calm but carrying through the chamber without effort. "Peace is not built on words alone," he said. "We joined this Council to learn, to cooperate, and to grow. But when we needed you most, you debated. When our people cried for help, you discussed regulations. You speak of unity, but your unity ends where your comfort begins," the words stung. Some representatives muttered objections. The High Speaker raised a hand for silence. "You misunderstand the scale of our responsibilities," the Speaker said. "The Council governs thousands of systems. We cannot act on emotion." The human's expression didn't change. "No," he replied. "You cannot act on courage." A ripple passed through the hall. "We tried to follow your rules," the human continued. "We followed your peace codes. We restrained our fleets when others would not. But peace cannot exist without responsibility, and it cannot survive among those who confuse stillness with wisdom." The High Speaker's golden glow dimmed slightly. "And what do you propose, human? To leave the Council?" To return to your isolated systems and repeat the mistakes of your violent past? The human paused. No, he said quietly. We do not propose anything. We are informing you. There was a hum as the hall's holoscreens flickered. All across the galaxy, every member world received the same transmission. An official declaration from the United Human Colonies. Effective immediately. Humanity withdrew from the Galactic Council. The chamber erupted in shock. Some shouted warnings of instability. Others called it madness. The High Speaker demanded to know what humanity intended. But the human delegation was already walking out. Over the following months, the galaxy changed faster than anyone could have imagined. Human embassies closed quietly. Their trade routes were rerouted or cut off completely. Their colonies became isolated. Their communication networks going dark. Many species assumed that humanity had retreated into fear or despair. The Council believed that given time, humans would return seeking forgiveness. They were wrong. At first, reports came from the frontier. Pirates disappearing without trace, blockade ships vanishing from radar. Patrols sent to investigate found nothing but silence. Then a small world once considered abandoned lit up on the sensors. Massive orbital docks appeared where none had existed before. Fleets began moving quietly, efficiently. When a Council scout ship approached, its captain sent a final message before contact was lost. The transmission showed hundreds of vessels, sleek, angular, and far more advanced than any human ship previously recorded. The message ended with a simple statement. They were waiting. Panic spread through the Council chambers. Emergency meetings were called. The High Speaker reassured everyone that humanity would not risk open conflict. They know peace is the only path, he declared. They will come to their senses. But deep down, many knew the truth. Humanity had not abandoned peace. They had abandoned those who abused it. Soon after, smaller civilizations began reaching out to the humans in secret. These were the species the Council often ignored. The miners, the settlers, the traders who lived on the edges of law and space. They remembered the food shipments, the medical help, the rescue missions humanity had provided long ago. They remembered kindness, not rules. One by one, they began aligning with the human colonies. No treaties, no oaths, just quiet cooperation. By the time the Council realized the scale of the movement, it was too late. Entire sectors now answered to human command. A new network of stations linked distant worlds under a banner not of empire but of protection. Human ships patrolled the trade routes once riddled with pirates. When asked for their motives, they replied simply, to keep others safe so what happened to us never happens again. The Council attempted to reassert authority. They sent envoys demanding humans rejoin the galactic order. The envoys were received politely, offered food and rest, then escorted back to their ships unharmed. The humans never raised weapons, never issued threats, but the message was clear. There would be no return. The High Speaker's final attempt came in the form of a peace summit, broadcast across the stars. He called upon humanity to restore the balance of peace. He accused them of creating division, of destabilizing what countless generations had built. When the human representative appeared on the screen, he looked older, his hair silver under the station's lights. Peace built on silence is not peace, he said. We did not abandon peace. We abandoned those who thought they owned it. Then he ended the transmission. Years passed and the galaxy adapted. Trade flowed again, but under new rules. The human alliance grew stronger, not through conquest, but through trust. They built schools on worlds the Council had forgotten. They sent engineers to rebuild old stations. They taught defense instead of dependence. The Council, diminished but still existing, watched in uneasy silence. Their fleets remained vast, their influence still broad, yet their authority felt hollow. Many of their own member worlds quietly began adopting human-style reforms. Faster decision-making, mutual defense pacts, equal resource distribution. The High Speaker retired in seclusion. The Council's grand chambers grew quieter. Where once stood statues of unity, cracks now ran along the marble, a reflection of their fading pride. In the outer systems, under the glow of twin suns, a group of young cadets stood on a human academy platform. Among them were beings of every shape and color, human and alien alike. Their instructor, a calm man in a dark uniform, spoke to them. Once we waited for others to protect us, he said. We learned the cost of that lesson. Now we protect each other, the cadets saluted, and behind them rose the flag of their alliance. not a symbol of dominance, but of shared survival. And though the council still met in their shining halls, the true center of the galaxy's peace had shifted. Because when humanity walked away from the table, they did know